see. Okay. I think we are on live, okay?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's keep going. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Willie, how are you?
Good morning.
All right, all right. So let's start our talk show, actually.
Sounds good.
And I just want to start with give some ideas about open up. Open up. I just want to create a platform to share people's or individuals' life journey. So whoever listening or the message getting through, somehow, somewhere, some place, they can change their life in a positive way. It doesn't matter is a big story or small or anything. It's a simple word or simple event, incident, or the whole life journey can impact. Right? This is of course a part of International Men's Day, and this is one of the platform or way to connect with people and individuals to get more exposure, and of course sharing our life story, and we learn from each other, right? And we have a special guest today, Willie Price.
Yes.
Willie Price. So this is very unique name, and I'm honored to be welcome Willie Price. This is just a friendly talk show. Just have a friendly talk, and let's hear from Willie. Just introduce yourself and start from there. Take away, man.
My name is Willie Price. I go by Willie A. Price Speaks, and I'm located in Buffalo, New York, by way of Niagara Falls, New York. Right now, I live in Niagara Falls, New York, but I actually grew up in Buffalo, New York. I'm an author, speaker, trainer, entrepreneur, and coach. I work with a workshop presenter. I do a lot of workshops with youth, especially young men in the Western New York and Rochester area, New York City area. And that's basically my introduction for me.
Uh, Willie, so tell me about your the work, the entrepreneurship, or the youth coaching a little bit more. I just want to connect, take you early childhood, but I just want to hear more works that you did in the last number of years.
Well, the last 3 to 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
I started out working I started a program called No Dream is Impossible, where I was working with both boys and girls, helping them to understand, who they were and look at what their dreams and goals were, and setting out how to achieve those. And during that time, I started to realize that there were a lot of programs geared towards women. You start to hear women power and women motivation and women this and women that. And that, like I said, working with both boys and girls, I started to notice that the boys started to feel left out.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a program. Well, I not created, but I recreated, because I started doing this in 1989. A program called Boys to Men with my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and we stopped in 95 doing it. And so, like I said, noticing that there was such a lack of activities for young men, I started From Boys to Men, which is my program. And I reached out to a couple of agencies and started going into the schools, and started out with one school. And then we've gone to where we're now in 4 different schools right now. And this past year, we were in 4 schools where we work with anywhere from fifth grade boys up to 12th grade boys, grade 12. And normally our groups are anywhere from 7 or 8 boys up to like 15 boys. And our programs go 2 10-week sessions, so a total of 20 weeks. we work with these young men in the schools, helping them understand self-awareness, physical, personal, and financial development. So helping them to understand who they are. And then what our goal is, everything we do is we try to show these young men, because a lot of times they're being encouraged to go to school, go to college, get education. But for a kid who's not doing that well in school, that's not a big motivating factor for them. So what I found is that by showing them, helping them to understand who they are, what their specialized skills were, what they're good at, what they enjoy doing, and showing them how to monetize that. So for example, you have a kid that likes to draw. Okay, how can you use that to make money? How can you create a business? Can you draw pictures of people? Can you draw pictures and take pictures of that, take those pictures and put them in a book and sell the book with your pictures? Can you teach people how to draw? So now I've just showed you 3 ways how you can take that child and show them how to create a business. Now think about it. That business where you're teaching someone how to draw, you can charge what? $25, $35, $50 an hour, not $10 an hour at a fast food restaurant, but they can make their own hours and create an opportunity for themselves. So now they're motivated because it's something that they can do, that they know they can do. If the teacher says, go to college, you got to get education to get a job, and they know they're getting C's and D's in the classroom, that's not a motivator for them. But if I say you can take your drawing and your skills with drawing and you can do these things with it, and you can make 25, 50, whatever amount of money, plus sell your pictures for $50 or $100, now that gets their attention, because it's something they already know how to do, because it's something that they enjoy doing. And so we started doing that with the kids and showing them, like I said, physical development, which is, just getting healthy, exercising, eating properly. So we do those things. We do dress for success. And then we do personal development, understanding who you are. And every class we do, we focus on motivational speaking. So you have, every day when you come in, you have to stand up and speak. You have to stand up and talk. You have to have your hands on your side. You're not fidgeting around, So we're teaching them all the aspects of what they need to do in order to be successful. And then the financial part is, like I said, teaching them 3 to 5 ways how to start a business, doing something they enjoy doing. And then we do introduction to the stock market, where we teach them how to invest in the stock market.
That's very interesting, man. Especially the social enterprise, it's huge nowadays.
Yes.
The whole school system, it doesn't teach us or give us a platform to build wealth or build a financial freedom. But you are taking a big step. Actually, it is huge. It is mandatory nowadays.
Yeah.
Because nothing is taught in school, right?
And
Exactly.
entrepreneurship is something that's very important, because teaching a kid to be his own boss, and how he can start his own thing. Now you show him how you can take that and you can help your family. You can bring your family into it. You know what I mean? So it gives them more self-pride and self-motivation, because where they may felt, because teachers saying you're not so good in school, they're feeling like lost. But now they say, hey, I have an opportunity where I can do something that I enjoy and help my mom out at home, help pay some bills, help, do some things, buy my own school clothes, all those kind of things.
Exactly. So I want to ask you, what was your inspiration to get into that field and then change, especially youth life? So many, I can see last number of years, you could change a number of lives. So take us back to your life, childhood actually, 5-10 years. Just wonder.
Well, I'm going to take you back a little further to that, but I'm going to take it fast. But I always give this to my grandmother, because as a child, 3, 4, 5, not 3, 4, but like 7, 8, 9 years old,
Right.
my grandmother used to always say to me, because I was out helping people wash cars, selling newspapers, selling fruit at a fruit stand. She said, you can do anything that you set your mind to. And she used to always say that to me. And I said, why do you always say that to me? She said, because when somebody tells you you can't do something, you find a way to do it.
Exactly.
And that always stuck with me. So when people would tell me, because like I said, these kids are in school, and when I was in school, teachers used to tell me I wasn't going to be, I wasn't getting A's and B's. I was getting C's and D's. So of course, when I told them I was going to college, they were like, "What do you mean go to college? You're barely passing high school. You'll never make it through college." And so that again, thinking about what my grandmother told me, that was my motivator. And so I ended up graduating from college. I ran track and field while I was in college, ended up breaking several school records. And so when I went back to my high school, I ran into that same teacher that told me that I would never make it to college. And he read about me and saw the things I was doing and was saying, hey, I read about you, you're doing so well. Have you thought about going for your master's? And all these kind of things. And I'm looking at this guy that said that I wouldn't even make it out of college, make it to college. And it made me think about it. That's how I started the program, because there's always somebody telling our kids what they believe they can do or what they can't do.
It's
And
true.
because they're an adult, because they're an authority, the kids believe it.
Yep.
They accept it as, okay, well, they're an adult, they know better than I do. So then they give up.
Exactly.
And so for me, that is part of what we tell the kids, you can do anything you set your mind to. No dream is impossible. What is your goals? What is it you want to do? And you're going to try it. And if it doesn't work, then we'll try something else until we achieve it. So you're setting that roadmap to your success. And sometimes roadmaps don't always go the direction you want to go. So sometimes you may have to bag up and take a different direction, but you don't give up on the journey.
Exactly.
And so that's what, that's how I started. And then do you have another second? I'll give you another part of my story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So as a result of that, telling you, like I said, what my grandmother told me, in January 10th, 2012, I fell 25 feet from the top of a roof.
Wow. Oh,
I shattered my left ankle. I broke all the bones in my right foot. And the doctors told me I should be dead, totally paralyzed, that I would never walk again.
oh man, oh man.
And so again, remember I said, people are always telling you what they believe you can and can't do. And I remember what my grandmother said, you could do anything you set your mind to. And I told the doctor, I said, I don't care about walking, but I need to go to track practice.
Exactly.
And he looked at me, he was like, what do you mean track practice? We told you, you'll probably never walk again. You shattered your left ankle. We have to take your ankle out and put a rod in it. And we're going to put screws in your right foot to hold your foot together. 3 months later, I walked into the doctor's office. 3 months after that, I ran my first mile. I just competed in the World Masters up in Toronto 2 years ago. I ran the 400 meters.
Oh wow, nice man.
So again, I don't only just encourage kids by saying, you can do anything. I try to use myself as an example, because again, people are always telling you what they believe you can't do. And when you can get that self-esteem, and you get a child to understand and have self-esteem and self-awareness about what his strengths and weaknesses are, and not even weaknesses, because people say, well, what is your weakness? And let's work on it. But it's a weakness because it's something you don't want to do. People say, oh, you're weak at math, you're bad at math, so we're going to help you be better at math. But if you don't like math, it don't matter how much
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right. So what is your strengths? And let's see how we can make your strengths be more valuable to you. So that's what we do. We find their strengths. What is your personalized, we call specialized skill? What is it that you're good at? Drawing, speaking, dancing, basketball, whatever the case may be. What is it that you're good at? And I had a girl one time in my program, I said, 3 to 5 ways, show you how to make a business. Yeah, one girl said, well, I like to sleep. How can I make money doing sleep? And she was testing me. And I had to catch myself. And I said, if you go up to the University of Buffalo, they do sleep studies and they pay you for sleeping. and she was so surprised because, of course, these are things that they don't hear and know about. But she was trying to be funny. She was testing me because all the other kids were saying drawing and different things.
Right,
said,
right,
well,
yeah.
I like to sleep. What can I do? How can I get paid for sleeping? And so when I told her that, it really motivated her because she was like, okay, this thing is for real. I can do anything that I want to do if I can find a way to make money doing it.
Exactly, exactly. It's true.
So
It's true.
that's what we encourage them is through we use money a lot because of course money makes the world go round. And so we always talk about financial ways of how to be successful, but we use, if you're starting a business, you need to know
Mm,
how to read a contract. You need to know if somebody say they're going to give you 10% of that contract, how much is that 10% going to be? So now
exactly.
instead of saying you need to know how to read, you need to know how to do math, we show them by saying that why you need to read, why you need to know how to do math. And now they're motivated to do it because they see how it's going to benefit them.
Right, right. So connecting back, going back to your early childhood and the profession you are in right now, it's everything happening for a reason, right?
Yes.
So when we connect the dot, all the dots going backward, so it's everything happening for a reason. So that influenced you or inspired you to change so many youth's lives. Actually, I
Yes.
can see that. I can see that. See, nothing is accident. Everything is pre-planned, right? And I want to ask you. Of course, I can see the some commonality that every man or every individual faces. There's no difference here, right? Ups and down and everything.
Yes.
But let's talk about the challenges you see within those kids, youth. Some common challenges or struggles or stigma or whatever, the mainly challenges, the life challenges when you come across when you sit down with one on one and you see some of them are very general or a very common thing.
One of the biggest challenges I see with most of the kids I see is, and I always say, I call it surround yourself with better.
Right.
And surround yourself with better means that you have to watch who your circle is, and you have to watch who our kids spend their time with. If they're around the same type of kids with broken homes, criminal activity, or they see drug dealers in the community, and that's the
Mhm.
only thing they see, what else can they emulate? They can only emulate what they see.
Yeah.
So working with the kids that I work with, I know they're in the inner city. They see the drugs, they see the alcohol, they see the abuse, they see all these things. They don't have a lot of times they don't have a positive male role model in their household,
Hmm.
and so it makes it very difficult for them. So when we say surround yourself with better, we try to find organizations that have positive male role models. It could be the Boys and Girls Club. It could be a fraternity or a sorority if it's the girls. It's men's groups, fathers groups like yours,
Yeah.
different organizations where we try to bring in those guys to speak or meet the kids. We even bring in police officers because a lot of times our kids are afraid of the police because they only see them when it's a bad situation. So
Exactly.
now
Exactly.
introducing them to police who work in the community, allowing them to get to meet them. And so again, surrounding them with people who are better. So this way, when they're out in the community, they may see that police officer and say,
Hmm.
hey, you came and spoke in my class. So now they're not afraid to go and speak to them or afraid to approach them if there's an issue that they're going through. So that is like one of the biggest things that I find with the kids is that a lot of them don't have that surrounding to do better. You tell them to go to college and become, successful, but if everybody around them hasn't gone to college, nobody's finishing high school, nobody is successful around them, how do they know what that looks like?
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
only
Right.
see they only see that drug dealer, with all the money and the cash and the cars and the girls. So of course, that's what they think is success to them. And so trying to deter them from doing that.
What is your biggest challenge so far in your personal life, or even let's talk about your father and son relationship. Of course, you are a father, I believe, and then so what? How do you compare, or what's the difference? Mainly, the father, your father, between the relationship between your father, and now you after you became a father, it's a huge responsibility. Let's talk about that one.
Well, that goes again back to why I'm so adamant about working with young men, because my father was in my life until I was 5 years old. And during that 5 years, early 5 years of my life, I saw the physical abuse that my father did on my mother. So we end up having to leave to get away from him. And so from the age of 5 until 12, I was the man of the house, but at the same time, I took a lot of, I, I suffered for what my father did to my mother. I was saying that way. So, because I reminded her of him, because I was the only boy in the family. I had three sisters at the time.
Right, right.
So until that time, I, went through a lot of things because I didn't have any role models. I didn't know, but because I knew I wanted to do better. That's why my grandmother always said to me, "You can do anything you set your mind to," because I was always trying to do something better than what I saw my father do.
Right,
So
right.
I did have a stepfather that came into my life when I was 12 years old. But at that point, you think about it. For 7 years, I was the man of the house.
Yeah.
And so what I did was, when he would approach me, I was so rebellious. I didn't, "You're not my father. Don't talk to me. You're not my father. Get away from me." I was that kid. So that's why I said, when I work with the kids, I see a lot of me and what they're going through. And so he saw in me what my grandmother saw, that I was always out trying to do better. And so one day he took me, put me in his car. We're driving down the street. He made me get in the car because I wouldn't get in. He made me get in the car. We're driving down the street. He gets out and he goes in this house. He comes out and he's counting his money. He puts it on the armrest. He goes down the street to another house. He's counting his money. He puts it on the armrest. And by the time we get to like the fourth or fifth house, I'm like, "Where are you getting all this money from?" He said, "Well, you saw those houses.
Yeah.
I buy them. I buy them at auctions. I fix them up and people pay me to live in them." He became my best friend that day because now he had something that I wanted. Remember I said?
Exactly.
Surround yourself with better. Surround yourself with people who are going to give you opportunities to do better in life. And I saw that by that pile of money that he stacked in between us, coming out of those houses. And I ended up he died before I bought my first house, but I ended up buying 20 houses in the city of Buffalo.
Wow. Wow.
That was how I got started. But that was my motivation, was seeing what he did and him teaching me, because he knew that's how to get to me. Because I was out selling fruit at fruit stands. I was selling newspapers. So he saw that I was always trying to make money. And he opened that door for me by showing me that this is how you can make money, by doing what I do. And it also created a bond with us, because now he had something I wanted, and it made me more open to listening to what he was saying. And that's what I found with my young men, is by finding things that they're interested in and then showing them that I'm interested in it too, and showing them how they can make that an opportunity for them. It makes them more willing to listen to what I'm saying about education. In order to be better at business, you need to know how to read a contract. Not say you need to go know how to do your math and do your reading, but again, you need to know how to read a contract. If someone said they're going to give you 10% of that contract, you need to know what 10% is. So in order for that, you need to know math. So now they understand for themselves, and they become motivated. And so that's that's what motivates me for doing this.
So you have some plans. You are working on, and I heard you were saying you want to do something with colleges or universities or schools. What's it about? Just because we are almost 10:30, so just a few minutes. Just take it quickly, and then let's wrap it up.
Well, right now we're doing 5 programs in 4 schools.
Okay.
Right now we're in the middle schools, and we're, like I said, from grade 5 up to grade 12.
Okay.
Because of this pandemic, we're working on doing virtual.
Okay.
Because we have
awesome,
so we've been contacted by New York City Public Schools. I've been trying to do some things with Ontario School District.
Oh,
and
nice.
so, and then the local schools that I'm here with, we're trying to do some things virtually here too, because again, with the pandemic, nobody really knows what's going on. And then we're also doing parent and teacher and caregiver trainings. and we're going to do those virtually also because we're teaching them what we do with the young men and showing them how they can use that as part of their involvement, especially with parents. I was contacted by a women's prison because you have women who are getting out of prison, they have sons at home.
Well,
And
that's part of the equation, right? I mean,
yeah,
we cannot just focus on boys. Of course, we need to
right.
focus more on boys, but at the same time, we have to take care of or look at their problems too, right?
Yes.
We have to face. We have to help the parents too. It doesn't matter single or
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, especially single mothers, and like I said, fathers, even the father, well, of course, fathers too, because sometimes fathers grow up in single family homes,
Yeah.
so they don't always know how to raise a son. But you have a mother, a single mother coming in back in home and getting a son, and of course she's been away, so now she has to learn how to adjust to not only being back out in the community, but
Hmm.
also being able to raise a young man.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things we're working on. Also, is doing something with the women's prisons who are mothers who are coming home to work with their children, boys and girls. And so we're doing that virtually also. So, like I said, we have a lot of things we're working on
Hmm.
and just trying to get our information out there. We have a new book coming. I have a new book coming out called A Mother's Love, a guide to preparing successful boys. And it's all about what we do in the From Boys to Men program, how we're working with the boys and how they can utilize that at home with their sons.
So, of course, we cannot discuss everything. We have a lot of things to discuss, but we cannot discuss everything in one
Right.
shot, right? Within 30 minutes, it's not enough. So, I would like you to bring you back later on, like in the future,
I would
right?
love to.
Listen to more. And then
Yes.
we are planning on a couple of things. And
Yes.
let's see how we can work it out together, or there are some collaborations too. Of course, I would like to ask you a big favor that if we can bring some youth from your group or those people and then talk about their life stories or life challenges here, if they are willing to, you know,
Okay.
it's always absolutely open for any gender. There's no limitation, right? So
Great.
it's a part of the equation. It's men and boys, or woman or male or female. It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
either it's we are all are connected, right? So thank you, Willie, for your time. I know you are a busy man. I think you had a great time yesterday, and
Thank you. Thank you for
of
having me. I'm excited about being on your show today. I appreciate it.
thank you, thanks a lot. And we will have more, of course. And then I will invite you for some other session too, right?
Great.
So thank you, everyone, for whoever joining and watching on YouTube or Facebook. Actually, we are going to YouTube later on, not now. So right now you can see on Facebook Live, right? So you can share it. Anyone, if you can share it, that's fine. That's great. So let's wish you for all good luck and everything, Billy. Thanks a
Thank
lot
you.
again. Thank
Thank you.
you. Take care. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.